Hello everyone, welcome to next session of drawing in design and architecture. And today for change, we're going to try to do a little bit something, let's say, more realistic. So instead of elements, we're going to go to the place, certain places. So let's just share the screen with you. And my favorite place to really sketch architecture is Venice, and that's really beautiful parts of Venice to sketch. It's so rich, this place, with any kind of composite objects and forms. So when you remember, I would draw, we were drawing with we're drawing, the kind of geometric object or kinds. So now we're going to kind of put in practice whatever we had practiced with the simple kind of geometric objects. So the building is nothing else than just geometric object. And I'm going to just change the color here, for example, for the blue. It's going to be better visible. So let's just simply analyze what we have in this. Whenever you draw from the picture, just remember one thing. You treat the picture as you would be there. Yeah, it's just that you will choose certain fragment. As much space you have on the paper, you will choose certain fragment of the buildings to draw, because if in real time, if I would be there, there's plenty of stuff around me. Yeah, so I just actually frame. I am interested about this corner. I mean, not necessarily corner, but this kind of part of the composition, which has kind of bridge. One building on the one side, the other a series of buildings on the left side. I didn't choose very difficult ones for the start, but that's kind of basic. So we're going to kind of actually try to capture the basic forms first, and some other time we're going to go a little bit much more further in elaboration of the details. So when you look at the space like this, you do not panic, because there's a lot of different forms, yeah? And symmetry is hard to catch and everything, so it's kind of not very easy actually. It's simple and at the same time not very easy to draw. But if you just focus on one thing for start, you can start only with the bridge. You can start only with any part over here. You can first start to draw it in proportions. Even this wall, this kind of wall there, if you just take in proportions how long is this part, is 4 squares and a half approximately to the end, and you do the angle, and you start, for example, from here, 1 2, let's say 3 4, is going to be somewhere here, 1 2 3 4 and a half, somewhere there. Yeah, so it's approximately this. You see this kind of length. If you do this right, yeah, so you have already these things done. Of course, you have certain thickness over there. You go with the thicknesses in perspective, and you have after the wall how high it is. When it starts is the corner there. So look, if I take this measurement and I go, there is 1 time and maybe 1/4, yeah? So this, for example, is 1 time and third. Somewhere from there, I have actually the perspective going very strongly towards me, yeah? And I have approximately this. Once you would have this wall, you can actually draw anything else after, because you see in the corner there, what is start is the arch of the bridge, yeah? So you can kind of elaborate that this is kind of horizontal ellipse, and that's the kind of less or more half of the ellipse is coming to the kind of base of the water. And based on this, you can actually go even, you see, and draw the bridge. So here's a little bit extension, you measure the proportions, and you go there, and you, of course, you have a little bit horizontal, and after it kind of raises up, you have the stairs, and after you have this part, where it is, which part of the ellipse, approximately 1/4. 1/4, so it's going to be 1 2 3 4, somewhere there. Yeah, you go after with the end of it, and it gets kind of to the wall. Yeah, all this part goes to the wall, to this wall over there. So just simply, if you analyze well, all this object you see, you can very easily actually draw. You can start also with this facade here. Yeah, look, it's gentle perspective, some conversions to the left, And that's very gentle, you know, conversions to the left, yes. And the others, of course, you have conversions to the right. If you want to know approximately where is the horizontal line, so you just kind of follow the roofs and follow the base of the canal of this building. Somewhere here you have the vanishing point. So of course, that's your horizontal line for everything. So if you would like to draw, for example, this part of the roof, you will converge it here and there. Yeah, okay. uh, you will have this kind of conversions because all these parts you see of the building, everything, the windows, everything going to converge to this vanishing point, and the other vanishing point is going to be far away to the left. Yes. So, but let's just start with this facade. Let's say you would like to go the easiest way. So the easiest way would be to just go first with this part of the building. You see, this part of the building and how it is in proportion. That's the base, the sidewalk, the kind of sidewalk base. You have this kind of form. So what you have in general, if you look closely, you need one square, yeah? So approximately here you have your square, isn't it? Well, you can verify this. If I put vertical here and over there, I have approximately 4 squares. So I am good there. So I have the proportions of this facade is 1 square, and this is what? This part is going to be what? 1, 2, 3.5 approximately, less or more. Yes? Okay, so let's try to draw just this part of the facade. So we need to have a square, yeah, first. So let's go vertical. Let's say that the end of it, of course, is going to be somewhere. Let me just going to clean this. Okay, so the end of it going to be somewhere. Let's say, well, somewhere there. Yeah, somewhere there. Okay, somewhere there. Those are between these two verticals. I can do. I draw this facet first because around this facet, after I can find all the other proportions perfectly well. You see, look, the width of the facade is approximately the same space to this end, you see, less or more twice, yeah? And afterward, this is 1/3, you see, this facade of this building going in this in different conversions line point to the right. So all these references you have to learn when you want to sketch briefly and very fast. I'm explaining this, so it's very slow. But if normally I would draw there, I would take not more than 15 minutes for sketching all this situation there. So I would draw very fast normally. But in order to explain you correctly what I do and how I think when I draw architecture, that is very important to see, to look and synthesize the forms, because you have many things which distract you, like 3 windows different, two windows here different, doors are different, the altan there on the top, the balcony is different shapes, and so this is all distractions. You cannot kind of, you know, those are not simple blocks like you were having the geometric blocks at the beginning. We did a few videos about that. So those are also blocks, but they are not visible if you do not concentrate on the simplicity of form first. So first, the side, the facade, we're going to simplify. So now look, you have different angle of convergence here of this roof and different on the base. Why? Because you are staying approximately somewhere there. So the roof you see a little bit from the top. That's why the convergence here, if you do, for example, horizontal line here, and look, horizontal line here, you see, here you have maybe 5 millimeters raising, but here you have, whoa, 1, 2, 3, maybe 2.5 centimeters. Big difference because you lower, yeah? And if this building going to be higher and you're going to be in the same position, you will have even much, because as you go higher, the convergences to the left going to be much more angular because you lower, yeah? So that's the kind of understanding of perspective, how it works. So let's go. This kind of angles, as I am showing you here, you can actually align the stick when you want to do it faster. If you're there in place, you sketch on your paper, you close one eye and align the stick exactly to the line of the roof, yeah? And just drop it down exactly on your paper. You have the upper angle of the roof, and you have the base also. You just take it very little angle there. So either you do it intuitively, or just simply by aligning just horizontally, perfectly horizontally the stick, you will see what kind of angle you have with the roof. And on the base, you will see there is very little on the base. So we have two ways of doing this. Either you just simply horizontally look what kind of angles you have for the roofs and for the base of the building, or you just simply align the stick and drop it down on the paper. So there's many, still more other ways of doing this, but let's just start drawing that. So I will kind of approximately do this kind of conversions for the loaf, maybe a little bit better, yeah, something around those lines, this line, yeah, something like this. Well, it looks similar. So now, and as I said, I had previously the two vertical lines. Those are going to be, because I cutted the building, yeah, the picture I cut it a little bit. So now I see the building from the edge over here, which continues somewhere here. I don't know, yeah, because let's say I might know if I am there, but I'm not interested to draw entire building. So I just cut it here. So that is this line, for example, vertical line here. And now I am building the one square, and was what? One square and one approximately, well, I'm going to just redo this calculation in the moment. Let's say I'm going to do this kind of wide, this facade. So now I need square, yeah? So first let's do just kind of, you know, the square, approximately the square part converging to the left is going to less or more be like this. Let me just verify if I have 4 squares approximately, yeah? If I just go, I am close, it's quite close, yes? I should be a little bit lower, the lower line over there. So I should be slightly lower there. So now I should be okay. And how it is, if I go again here, yeah, and there on the base of the building, so one square is somewhere there, and the one which left is approximately 1, 2, 3, 4.5, approximately, yes? Okay, so if I divide this square of mine on 4 times, 1, 2, 3, and 4, yeah, okay? And I need to have what? 4.5. So it needs to be a little bit smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is close to half. So approximately the 1/4 and half, I'm going to put it there. So now I can kind of make this, you know, base for the facade correct. Yeah. So now I kind of simplify the facade of the building I am looking at, yeah, that's the facade, yeah, okay. So that's the entire, let's say, building form I am looking at. Now, let's just focus first of what is in the facade itself, or if we want, we can actually start drawing the other side of the building over there, the simple form over there, which is approximately one square going to be here, so it's approximately like 1/4, 3/4 of the square. So let's go there, and I will approximately in 1/4 or something, I have this point where I'm going to do this conversions there, yeah, this way. So now what? Approximately to the half of the building, you see, half of the facade here, and on the base it is somewhere there, you see, exactly in the middle, here and there, yeah. I have what? I have base for this first 3/4 square, you see. So I can go there, and for example, in half of the building, I have base for this another square. So I will kind of make these conversions going this way. And what I need 1 square, and I'm going to take 1/4 of the square, shorter. Let's say this is going to be approximately 1 square. And if I divide 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, so somewhere there I have this part. So it is what? It is going to be exactly, I'm going to take this away, yeah. So I have this part of the facade of the other building, yes. So I have this, and now I know that on the base, on this base, the entire form continues, yeah, because it continues with this, you see, additional building there, additional facade over there. So I can make it kind of estimate that that's going to be somewhere, and just kind of nicely, approximately this kind of angle. The angle, as I said, you can still go there and kind of, you know, with the stick taking, I think the angle is much more stronger than I did. Well, normally it should be something around those lines, and this also should be kind of much more stronger, yeah? So let's do the other way. Let's say this is the much more appropriate way to do this angle, yeah? I'm gonna have this kind of angle over here and over there, okay? From here, of course, the building, this side of the building follows this perspective, yeah? This perspective over there, yeah? So I will kind of, let me just change the pencil. It's gonna be lighter lines. Okay, so I go there, and this kind of part of this wall, it's following the same perspective as the facade have here. So now I'm going to erase these lines. As you draw, yeah, and you have the construction lines, you take the kind of, you know, needle gum and stamp it them right away. So now what I have here, you see, if I have to change again the pencil, like for this one, for example, over there. So you see, now you have what? One square approximately here, if we normally would go, yeah? And you have another square, approximately 2 squares when you have the vegetation start. So let's go. So approximately 1 square, and let's say another, somewhere there, of course, I have to go this way, yeah? Because this is the perspective of this facade, yeah? Over there. So part of it is hidden by the wall, yeah, by the facades of the buildings which are following the channel, okay? So I don't see it, but my 2 squares is going to be approximately like this. And this is the end corner, yeah? So I have approximately 1 here, and there is the end corner from which start the trees and the bushes. Anyway, so I have this facades going approximately somewhere this way, and this building going this way. And what I have here, I have a roof, yeah? And the height of the roof, how it relates to the first facade I did, half of it raised up, yeah? Vertically. So if I go, half of it going to be somewhere there. I raise it up vertically, yeah? It's somewhere there is the point, the top of the roof. Of course, look, this roof here is in the corner, but on the other side is this. So what it means that the facade behind this building is the 1/3 of the square. Here is going to be 1 square, and what is left, 1 square and 1/4. So let's just now, in order to have the angle of the correct angle of the roof and the middle point of the roof, I would go where I need approximately 1, 2, 3, 1/4 of it there, and I add another 1/4 there because it's 1 square and 1/4. So if I prolong this line over there, you see, and now look, if I go here and if I go there to the corners, I have the top of the, of course, 1/2, somewhere there, I have the top of the roof. So now you can actually draw the form of the roof, yeah, which is slightly higher, okay, than the facade of the building. However, what we see only this, the rest is hidden behind the facade of the building, yes, okay? So that's what you have. So now you can kind of erase this part, these lines are not necessary, you have the roof approximately there. And now, with the perspective as it goes, you're going to have the top of the roof, you see, over there, somewhere like this, you're going to get the top of the roof, yeah? And now, well, we don't see the end of the roof because we're going to put some vegetation there, so we just leave it that way. So that's kind of basic structure. What we have there in the building, we have 2 windows, yeah? Well, we have 2 windows which kind of one start, let's say one start approximately, approximately somewhere here, yeah, less or more. Okay, something narrow windows, because from this angle that's what we see, and a little bit closer to the middle, somewhere there start the other one. So this you can do it kind of intuitively, and you have, of course, where they go approximately 1/3 up. You see, 1/3. If you divide this in three, somewhere there they finish. So you have kind of the top of the windows you have there, and the base of the window, which is it? Is somewhere here. Yeah. So this kind of stuff you can do intuitively. So this kind of is generic, of course, generic structure of this. Let's go now to this facade in front, this one over there, the orange one. Well, look, if I divide exactly from the base, yeah, to this beginning of the roof, if I go in halfway, what I'm going to see? Halfway is somewhere there. Well, I have what? I have approximately, look, this part, actually, let me choose this cable over this part. It is 1, it is 2, and it is almost 3 to the base. Well, let's do the other way. It's easy. You always look for easier, references, so you can do the proportions right. So this is less or more 1/3. 1, 2, 3. On the 1/3, you have this kind of cable or kind of form on the facade. So I'm going to kind of do this approximately in the last correct perspective conversions to the left. And now, of course, I do what? I do a little bit the roofing, kind of the thickness of it and so on. So it's raising a little bit up, yeah, but it's not going higher than the roof. So we just kind of go there and make a few lines, yeah, because there is some kind of stuff going on there, under, and so on. And I'm going to have what? 3 windows. As you can see, the space here and this space here is less or more the same. And if you cut in half, the window is 1, 2, 3, 4. So look, if you now go and do this 1, 2, 3, 4, you have approximately the base for the windows and the top for the windows. Yeah. Okay. So now look vertically. You see this? You take this space. Yeah. And you see is 1.5. You have this end of the window. Yeah. So we have approximately 1, 2.5. So, well, I would kind of, you can do it intuitively, this measurement here. If you want to be exact, you take it this and you go vertically, 1, 2, 3, 1/4, you see? So it's 1/4. So you take this 1/4 over there and you put it over here. And that's how the window start. How big is the window? Is this 1/4.5, yeah, over there. You have the window side. And now the space between the windows is less or more the same. You see, look, this window and this space is less or more the same, isn't it? Yeah. So what you could do here, you can actually do this. You remember what I was showing you? I'm going to do this a little bit stronger so you can see it here. Yeah, that's the space of the window, for example. And now look, I have the baseline of the windows going this way, and I have the top lines of the window going that way. And if I want to do it faster and much more correct, I would connect the corners. I have the middle line and just go middle line. I will go with the middle line over there. And what I have, point here, yes? So through this point, I will just go straight line, and I have approximately the space between the window. And I go from here again in the middle over there, and I have 1 window, yeah, and I have small space there. I would just go right away with the 2 windows, and the second window would be here. But I have little space, which is approximately half of this. This little space is approximately half of this space. Yes, so you just go there and you do that, and you just add the other part over there a little bit. So what? You have 1 window here, another there, another here, approximately another here, and so on. So you did the windows approximately right. And what is left is the kind of facade visible. There's one thing I have to mention. Whenever you use pictures, you have to correct the verticality of lines, you see? Because when you take picture with your camera, and if you don't have lenses at least 400, you know, 400 or 600, you know, you have just most of the time in the small cameras, you have 48 or 58, maybe 80. So those are too short. So you're always going to have the vertical conversions distorted in the pictures. So if you draw in two vanishing point perspective, you have to remember that you have to, all the windows, you have to draw vertically. Yeah. Because when you're going to be there in the place, and if you don't want to show anyone that you are actually using picture drawing the view, you have to do this. Because if you're going to draw as is on the picture, when you have the convergences to the third vanishing point, everybody knows that you are using pictures while drawing this. Because if you're going to be in this particular place, you take vertical stick, and you will see all the verticals, they're perfectly vertical. You don't have any conversions to the third vanishing point. You don't see this, yeah? It exists, but you have to be far away, and you have to be, you have to be very close to the building, looking up or something, you're gonna see these differences. But if you kind of from this distance, as I was, when I was taking this picture, that you don't see, everything is perfectly vertical. On the picture, however, you have the convergences happening. So let's just, so you have to take this in consideration. If you draw from the picture, correct the vertical lines as you're going to draw them. So now that's my base for the sidewalk, okay? Let's say I'm going to kind of just erase this line, so I don't going to really, that's my kind of end, okay? And now, when I have the other windows, well, look, the other windows, if you have the parapets there, if you go with this space, yeah, how it is approximately 1 square, you see, of the window, and maybe 1/3 or 4 rather, yeah. So if I take the window, 1 square is here, you see, approximately, yeah, less or more. So this space I go from the parapet down is somewhere there. So here I have approximately the top line for the arches of the windows. How big are the windows? They are much more higher than these ones over there. I have here 1 square and approximately 1/3, but those ones, if I take the same, is going to be 1 square, yeah, and you see 3/4 or something. So it's quite high windows, yeah, completely different than the others. When they start, look, vertically, almost, if you correct the vertical lines, this window, the other window down there on the second level starts from this line, yeah? And when it ends, well, it ends there. So what it means, you're using the same approximately width of the squares, but what you need, 1 square and 3/4, we said, somewhere there is the base, yeah, for the window, yeah? Somewhere there you have the parapets. So you go and you just kind of put the parapet less or more over here, yeah, over there. So now, of course, you can actually do the arches here. Okay, let me just save this. So now I'm going to do the arch. And the arch is nothing else than half of the circle, which was circumscribed, which is circumscribed. I'm going to show you here. It's nothing else that just you have square in perspective. You circumscribe this circle there. Okay. Well, of course, you have the major. In this case, the major going to be converging to the left, to the right vanishing point, and the perpendicular to it, the vertical axis is going to direct you the angle of the ellipse. So in our case, I would have the square, let me see, where is it? Over there. So I have this square over there, you see? So my conversions now, the major is going to go there, and the minor is going to perpendicularly there. So my ellipse for this arch is there. So now I'm going to take, I have about the ellipses videos on YouTube. You can go and go there and practice with me and study. You will know what I'm talking about. So that is the first window. And after what you have, repetition. What you can do, well, the same as we did with the other windows, you can do the corner, and you have the middle line over there, you go there. And because they are all together very close, so I can go through this point and I have another window right the way here. Oops, sorry, right the way there. Yeah. And I can go further as I did the previous one, and I have another, but I'm going to extend this with the little kind of half over here. So with the little half, I just put space here. So I have another window there and add it on the other side. And what I do here, I do the same as I did with this ellipse, that my major is approximately there, my major is approximately there. I have the middle point, and perpendicularly to it, to this, I have this. So my ellipse is going to be approximately like this and like this. And what I have to do here is just add, I only need the half of it, yeah? So I'm going to add all the arches, ellipses correctly there. So that's the basic kind of, sketch of those windows. And these windows are going to also make it, the end is somewhere there, okay? So I'm going to just kind of erase these lines. So I have these windows, and I'm going to kind of clean a little bit the lines because it's too messy. Yeah, so I just going to kind of a little bit, this is the space between, and inside we have just the arches and the windows approximately done, so on. And this window also I don't need anymore because I just kind of, so I just clean all the lines which I would not need anymore, in order when I'm going to kind of briefly draw this part, okay, I'm going to kind of, so going to take some lines from this picture, so as you draw, you don't going to be bothered with. And also here, I'm going to clean it out, this one, yeah. So you see, we have approximately the windows already. And now the base is here, yeah. So let me just see. The base is of the building is somewhere there, yeah. So this part, yeah, relates how to the other? Well, it's like 2.5 approximately, yes. So if I divide this in 2.5, let's say all this part, yeah, if I divide 1, 2.5 is going to be somewhere there. So, okay, so somewhere there, or it's going to be even easier to actually take this part where it starts, this kind of, there were vitrines, there's some other doors and so on. So this kind of cornice here would be approximately like 1 to 1/3, yeah, 1/3 down. So if I go, for example, with these windows, 1, 2, 3, 1/3 down is approximately somewhere there. So I can actually make this cornice a little more here. And when it starts approximately on the corner of this kind of blind window, yeah. So it's somewhere there, you see it starts. So now from here, you're going to have what? Another 1/3 the thickness of it. So I have here 1, I have, let's say, a little bit another over there. So I have approximately the thickness of it is 2 parts like this. The cornice should go like this, yeah. From the profile, going to be something like this. So you have larger part, and then the facade start, and you have the window inside. Yeah, if you look in the profile of this. So let's go further. And now what I have, well, I have the small window. So this part you can do intuitively, because you see, look, to the base you have this, and this is approximately like 1, 2, 3, yeah, okay. So if I just kind of briefly divide this 1, 2, 3 less or more, I know that this is the base for the window, yeah. And somewhere there I have little space between, and what I need is approximately 1.5 square, yeah. So 1 square I'm going to have somewhere there. So I go, that's how the window is. Actually, you have reference, also vertical reference to the window there. Because if you collect the verticals, this window H frame is going to be aligned exactly perfectly on this line. But you have to correct the verticals, because now the verticals, you see, like in the picture, distorted. So before to do nicely the windows, you have to do something around those lines. So I have this line, the vitrine kind of a window over here. And after this, you can do intuitively some kind of, wall there, and you have the doors. We don't see these doors, but there were kind of doors there, okay, to the store. and there's another vitrine on the other side if you're really in this space. But because we don't draw the rest of it, so we're just kind of going to skip this part, and we're going to start here. So another doors, well, you see, this circle is like 1.5 of this white over there. So if I take this as a reference, I have one, the narrow one, and half of it I add there. So the other doors which are here, it's going to start somewhere from here. Now horizontally, they kind of follow the height of the window. Yeah, so it's somewhere there. And of course we have what they go to the lower part. So we just go from here, from this circle, yeah, over there, you go approximately, and this is a little bit, you can align to the other windows less or more. So it's somewhere there, if you do this correctly, somewhere there I should have the other doors. So I'm going to have here, I have the doors over there. Oops, sorry, I'm just going to erase this. Yeah, so a little bit much more nicer. This is a little bit light and larger. So, you know, it's something around this way is the windows, and they're going to be the doors. So you have, of course, some kind of, there's some kind of steps there. Yeah, but you don't see it. Why? Because you have steps to the bridge. Yeah, starting actually from approximately here. And you're going to go with the steps approximately of this angle. Yeah, you can actually see the balustrade there, you see, kind of to the wall attached this angle, and start approximately from the half of the door. So somewhere from there it goes that way. And in halfway, you see, look, between this and the corner of the building, in approximately little less than half, is the beginning of this part. Yeah, of the wall, and the bridge is raising there. So as we said, half would be there, so it's a little bit more than half. Somewhere from here, what it starts actually on the level approximately of the height of the doors, a little bit lower than the height of the doors, it's going to be the roof, the kind of bridge start. Yeah, and you see, when you have corner of the building over there, you have just very little of something like maybe 1/5 of this part over here. If you go with the lower parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, approximately 5, so you're going approximately 1/5 out. So if I go, let's say 1/5, it's going to be somewhere there. And from here now, where we go, well, if you go look, if you look the facade of the buildings you have there, is the base of the canal, is a little bit higher than the middle, you see, and is on what is a little bit kind of, you can do it is intuitively, that as you have the end of the building there, you see, when we have this line over there, the second facade is almost finishing. Yeah, if you correct the verticals, it's going to be okay. So somewhere here you have the second facade finished. And now if you go with the canal base, look, this corner over there, when you have the bridge, which would be approximately, you see, on this line. So if I go on this line down, you have to always align vertically, horizontally the details. And look there, this is approximately where 1/4 of the door. 1/4 of the door is somewhere there. So voila, from this point, yeah, I would kind of go with the canal base. Yeah, and at the same time, you see, this two kind of these two facades actually, oops, I'm just going to leave this. Yeah, these two facades, I'm going to just erase this part. These two facades is actually almost, they are both the same, like in perspective to squares. So but this first facade enters a little bit to this place, and I will kind of put it in the half approximately somewhere there. So now I have the white facade is approximately here. Maybe I put a little bit too much in this building, a little bit less. Yeah, you have the face facade a little bit kind of here, okay, and the other is there. And from this part, of course, you have some kind of wall, and this is continued. The channel go that way, so you have kind of water part here, and you're going to have some kind of reflection of those facades, of course, in the water area. Yeah. So now you can actually extend this line completely there, and you see, if you just go as the channel there, you will have approximately here to the corner, and you see the base of the building is there, so we'll have approximately the same space over there, you see, but it's hidden by the bridge, okay? But normally it would go this way, yeah, to converge to the right part. Okay, so we have basically approximately, you know, the kind of basic forms of this part. Let's do the bridge now. So the base of the bridge is until here, yeah, and from here, of course, it gets kind of corner, and after it gets kind of down here. And when is the base of it? The base of it is a little bit kind of in half of the doors. In half of the doors, you have base. So here you have a base, and from this base now you go towards me in perspective. So it's very short kind of part, and it goes down over there, yeah, down over there. And look what I have here. I have here one square. You see this part over there is one square over there, yeah. So if I go closer there, I don't want to change the picture because you might be drawing maybe with me, so you better kind of, I keep it as it is, but I'm just going to erase you these lines. You see this part over there, this one over here, yeah, is actually square, you see, okay? So if I do square here, yeah, so I know that. And in halfway vertically, look, halfway vertically, you have a corner of this part of the wall, yeah? So I have half, and half is over there. The half of the square gonna go there, you see? So we have the vertical line of this wall. And furthermore, where is the square half? Approximately somewhere over here, yeah? So you're gonna go now what? With this kind of, you see, this kind of even much more stronger towards me, yeah, angle of this wall. And this is approximately, you know, it starts a little bit kind of half of the square outside there, half of the square is here, so you just go, and it's going to be kind of following this perspective. You cannot really adjust this wall to this convergence, because if you look at this picture and you would be in this space over there, you will see that you have what from the top. How it works is like this, that this part is not in straight line. You have first like this, and after you have another angle there, okay? So it's not very visible in the picture, but if you look closer, you might find this out. So I have this kind of wall over here, and now vertically how it is, this square is going to be like 1 2 3 3, actually 1 2.5 to the base, because after you have this kind of steps entering to the water over there, yeah, you have steps here entering to the water, lower, 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 so you actually can walk down to the water on the steps to the canal. So this is like 2 squares, so it's like 1 2.5. Somewhere there it starts, of course, the base, you know, for the stairs. And now vertically corner, where is it? You see, close to the doors, somewhere there. You have until here, and now you, of course, use this perspective, yeah, going with this conversion system, and how lower it goes. Of course, this is also the end of the wall, vertical part of it. So if I take this, how large is it? And from the corner go is 1 time, 2, 3 times and half. So if I take, for example, this, how large is this wall over there? And I go 1 time, 2, 3.5. Here is the canal, yeah, kind of. And from here you have the wall, and your perspective goes towards yourself. So now, to make this cleaner, here what I have some kind of steps. So I know that I have the first step is somewhere there, and you can kind of go with the perspective of the steps in order to follow the wall over there, yeah? So you have one step less is here, another is going to be there, another going to be there, and another going to be there. Everything is in the water, so as we're going to draw this, we're going to take this into consideration. So yeah, and we have some kind of, you see, marble kind of frame for this part of the canal over there, and so on. And of course, here you have the wall. From the other side, you have the lower part of the wall over there, yeah, over here, yeah. As I'm going to draw, you're going to see it. And now you go with this perspective, with the other little bit kind of like this, and you have that, and you're going to have the part of the stairs, yeah. And the stairs you have kind of like, you can just do this intuitively, 1, 2, 3, 4, or something steps. So you have kind of after 1, let's say 2, 3, and so on steps, you know, for the bridge. You have the upper part over there, and you have a little bit, you see the other part of the wall, and the bridge start. So from here, you have actually the bridge. And now, this part of the bridge, where is it? If you go with the perspective, it is aligned to the parapets, you see? So it's very easy to find it. Where is it? So to the parapets of those windows, if you go kind of with the perspective, kind of there, yeah, oops, a little bit better, yeah, somewhere there, okay, like this, okay, like that, yeah, well, a little bit better. So I have the top of the bridge. Where it ends, look, is this part is where? Is approximately in 2.5 of the first facade, yeah? So vertically, if I draw 1, 2.5 is going to be somewhere there, yeah? The top part is goes until here to here, yeah, okay. Actually it should be a little bit lower, something is, well, and because I have to raise a little bit the roofs over there, okay, because there's some kind of thickness of the roofs. It's okay, somewhere there I have the bridge. Now where in the corner is a little bit, where is the white part of the facade, less or more? The white part of the facade is here. So now look, from this point approximately I connect my part over there, and I have approximately, you know, the part of the bridge, yeah, over there, yeah. So you just kind of adjust this nicely, everything, and I have this part of the bridge over there. And from here, if I just follow this line in perspective as with the facade, so it's going to be a little bit lower here, and this space is the same to the end of the bridge, you see. So as large as it is, this part, you enter there. So it's approximately somewhere there is the end of the bridge. And the base of it, if I go like this with the perspective, you know, but the perspective of the facade, so somewhere there I have actually the end of the bridge. So if I just take this out, and what I have to do now, of course, I know that from this corner is the arch, yeah? And the other arch is where? On the other corner. So if I go now with the perspective of the building over there, yeah? If I go like this, okay? With the perspective of the kind of convergences for the building. From this corner over here, where's the wall? Over there, you see? If I go, because normally it would go that way as the building goes, you see? Over there, yeah? A little bit nicer like this, a little bit lower than the, something on the side, actually on the base of the stairs, you see? You have the other corner of the arch finishing of the bridge. So let me just erase this part from the picture so it doesn't bother you. Okay, and let's just do this. So I know that the ellipse I need to do here is there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of try to circumscribe here. Kind of, normally I would circumscribe kind of horizontal ellipse, but only this part of the ellipse I'm gonna use it, yeah? The upper part of the ellipse I'm going to use, okay? So you have approximately pre-sketch the form of the bridge. Of course, it's much more complex because there are much more details. And so, oops, sorry, I just erased this upper part. Okay, so you have this, and you're going to have what? You have certain thickness of the bridge when, of course, it's going to be, where is it? Law is approximately here, yeah? The inner part of the bridge, you're going to see it, yeah? So it starts like from half of this facade, yeah? From halfway of this facade, it starts somewhere over here. So somewhere from this point, you're going to have a little bit kind of visible the lower part of the bridge, which is kind of in shadow. Normally, of course, because the sun is from this side, you have a little bit, you see, normally it should be like this, the shadow, but you have a little bit that way, okay? You can see on the water because the light is coming, sun is from the left. So it's projecting this arch a little bit kind of curve of the shadow. So the shadow going to be a little bit kind of, you see curve over there. Yeah. Okay. So of course you have this kind of facade here, and of course there is the wall, of course the bricks and everything. So you have this kind of, you just kind of try to, do this stuff nicely and so on. Let's go with the top now. Okay. Let's maybe do with the vegetation. So you see, look, somewhere from there you can have to imitate, there's some kind of vegetation where it goes approximately like 1/3 of this part of the bridge. 1/3 of the part of the bridge is somewhere there. So until here you have this kind of vegetation and it goes there, and you kind of try to imitate the form less or more, and it gets a little bit over to this wall over there, yeah, and it's kind of spreads a little bit on the top over there. And what is else? Well, you have something over there, so just kind of imitate some kind of vegetations here and there, and the form it has. So we just kind of go and try to kind of do these forms which are in light, you just kind of make them less or more. Of course, if you spend more time, you can do this perfectly, but briefly, you just go there, you see you have approximately this part is kind of taken by vegetation here, yes? So you don't going to see anymore this part of the wall, you're going to see just another a lower vegetation aligned to this. This is approximately finishing here. You have some kind of shading over there, yeah, on this vegetation here, and it's kind of form over there. You have some kind of shade there, other shade there. Vegetation, you also use the shading approximately to just get the dimensionality of it, yeah, any kind of arbusts or kind of, climbing, arbusts or something like this. So you just kind of go, and of course this part is going to be a little bit in shadow and so on, and you build the dimensionality of those of any kind of branches or any kind of bushes here. You just, and then is this kind of little bit, look, you see here, for example, from this bush is actually kind of raising a little bit higher even, yeah, always much more higher over there. So it kind of raise there and covers, and you see that the roof is actually coming from behind of these bushes here. So you have one part somewhere there, yeah, over there, going like this, and the other part of some kind of course, shades under and so on, and you have some kind of a little bit details here and there, and somewhere from there you will see that the roof is kind of, a little bit thinner, so it's going to be a little bit something going less or more that way, yeah, over there, and you just adjust this roof a little bit nicely over here. You have some kind of under roof part, and you have some kind of stuff going on, the details a little bit later, and you see some kind of other attachment here a little bit to this roof of another building. We don't see it because we have another vegetation kind of raising up there, yeah. So let's say I'm going to make this a little bit in darker, and you have another little bit lower over here. So you just kind of go and just do this kind of vegetations parts there. And there's some kind of, even going down this kind of, climbing kind of branches and so on, yeah, over there. So there's kind of much more details there than we have time to do that. But I would just kind of, and the most important for this video is kind of try to teach you how you should less or more kind of, um, sketch, architecture where you actually in situ looking at this. So you always, in order to have perfect proportions, of course, the arch here is a little bit kind of, you see the white part is there. I'm going to draw this in the moment much more darker. So here's the white part. We can see some kind of, windows over there a little bit, and you have something in the middle of this entire facade. You see you have some kind of, triangular stuff coming out over there, yeah. Okay, this is the I think for the rain, falling down parts, and this evacuate the water or something. You have another window somewhere in the end over there. You have, of course, this I'm going to just push a little bit the windows over there. You have some kind of shadows under the roof because it's a little bit larger. You have some kind of, you see, decorative aspect with the bricks here and there under this, yeah. So this kind of stuff, as you're going to draw after much more cleaner everything, you will kind of take in consideration. There's some kind of window there, a little bit kind of arch over there, yeah. You have some other over there going to be visible, and you have something, over there going on this entire form facade over here. What you're going to draw, you're actually going to add addition of it, and this addition start, you see where this facade race is approximately 2 squares. So if you go 2 squares is approximately here it ends, yeah, and you have some kind of addition. There's kind of another addition, but goes kind of chimney going this way and this way. So as you have this part approximately pre-sketched, you can allow yourself a little bit intuitive approach, yeah, here and there, if you want to do it kind of correctly. And this roof is going a little bit longer here, so it's going to be kind of over here, and it's going to be some kind of shadow under and so on, yeah. And from behind you see some kind of arch coming, some kind of windows over there probably, or something, yeah, having kind of arch, a kind of shape, you know, around its shape and so on. You have some kind of sticks they're going and so on, kind of details, you know. And to this addition now you have, you see, because this kind of small veranda or kind of storage and built there, so you have this kind of forms going on there. You have some kind of chimney coming from this, yeah, and it goes kind of high, and somewhere, oops, sorry, and somewhere there you have some kind of triangular end of it. You have another kind of parts over there, and you have some details. You just kind of try to kind of, you know, fake them approximately, give impressions that you're really drawing this kind of forms over there. So just kind of help you a little bit. And here you have some other roofing coming, yeah, which is there. You have this kind of, you know, top, on top of the roof you have this kind of, you know, ceramic plaques over there. You know, we can do this, and you have kind of darker part here, yeah. This entirely is kind of in dark. You have the upper roof, you have the lower part of the roof, and so on. And here you have, of course, bricks and stuff going on, so you have kind of bricks here and there. Anyway, this you can, that's later, the part for later. And now let's finish this facade there, and we can start kind of briefly pre-sketching this. Of course, you have some kind of metal balustrades, yeah, over here, which kind of, you see, raised a little bit. The balustrades go until here, yeah, one balustrade, and the base, this is the base of it, and you have some kind of, yeah, bars like this and like this, and the other, it's where is the half of the doors approximately, and it goes kind of very low, where is the stairs, so somewhere there, the other is somewhere there, yeah. And you have also this kind of stuff behind. So you have the balustrades. And let's go with the top of the roof. Let's finish this briefly. So I'm just going to kind of, this kind of brief sketch, but you can spend much more time on it. So now look, this is approximately 1.5 times, yeah, less or more. So this part, you take 1.5 times. Somewhere there you have what? You have this addition, yeah? And where is it? Well, it starts where is the window vertically, you see? So whenever you draw architecture, you always have to align vertically, horizontally, and so on. This is not yet perfect pre-sketch, but I do this fast and try to explain you. Another thing I forgot here, you see? Here is some kind of raising of the form, and you have another form over there which goes, of course, with the perspective this way, and you have some kind of small windows here and there, yeah. And there's some other stuff in the wall and all kind of details. It's kind of you know, busy part. And if we go there, we have the end of the roof goes with this perspective over there, you see over there, and we have some kind of roof there. So we just kind of, you see, this is approximately as high as this, yes. So we have some kind of column there, and this is the lower part, and this is approximately going up as much as the height over here, and it's a little bit lower. The roof goes this way and a little bit higher over there. So we have these ceramic plaques over there, and this part is like 1 square and little, yeah. So 1 square, somewhere there is the end, and is raised in this, the balcony is raised, yeah, with this part. So you go now with this perspective, and this is like 1 square, 2 squares and a half to the end. So you go 1 square. Actually, you can also use the windows. So this is, whereas the end of the windows is the inner part, and outside you add just the column here, because another column you have somewhere there, yeah. And this is the space between. You have some kind of, you know, for covering the this is what is the name for it. You just kind of you know, can cover protect yourself from the sun. Yeah, so you just kind of make these parts on the top over there somewhere, and we have of course the decorative aspect of this part over there, which is kind of a little bit classic, you know, as it was done. Now height of it is 1.5 approximately. Yeah, one and a half. So if I do 1.5, so the one I put there, and I have the roof approximately here and there done. Okay, of course there is some kind of, you know, dimensionality, yeah, over here and there, some kind of decorative aspects of it. You have some kind of pots of flowers over there, yeah, plants or something. You have some kind of plants, load of plants over there, kind of vegetation, and behind, of course, you have the windows, and here you have, of course, some kind of a peak on the top of this roof. So here you have this, here you have this, here you have this, and of course the other part we don't see, but probably it is follows, yeah. This kind of, you know, plaques follow, and the other roof follows here. So you're going to have this kind of plaques over there, and maybe there is some kind of tree visible on the back over there. Yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's a Mediterranean area anyway, so you have plenty of cypresses and stuff like this. There's some kind of peak over there, you know, and so on. So now we can kind of briefly try to you know, sketch this a little bit nicer. Well, you have the sidewalk there, there's some kind of, you know, plaques there, but they're not really, in Venice, they don't kind of align really perfectly to anything, because they kind of, I would say, occasionally put it there as they were doing the sidewalks, whatever. So there's no kind of regularity, and that's what is very good to practice really your perspective knowledge, because you know, that's very kind of challenging. So now I have kind of brief sketch. I always, when I sketch perspective, most of the time I do kind of brief sketch, but it's very light. My sketch on the paper, as I was showing you in the first videos when we started, is going to be kind of light like this, yeah, on the paper. So based on this kind of light sketch, I would actually do now a little bit much more elaborated part. Actually, it's not, let me just finish this because it's not finished. You see, we still have, we forgot this building over there. So let's just kind of imitate approximately, less or more the windows are going to go, the base of those go there. And we have like 1, 2, 3. Okay, one's kind of like Gothic kind of arches here. Yeah, another is very close. So I'm just going to imitate now over here, this part less or more. And when the bridge ends, you have a kind of small window here. Yeah, and another close to it is the one which is kind of just before the bushes visible. They are all the same windows except the small one, squarey one here. There is some kind of, you know, column from the bricks done, a little bit extension of the brick, and some kind of unevenness here. Of course, you're going to have some kind of windows under the bridge visible in this. Yeah, there's some kind of stuff there, details. So we just kind of, there's kind of from bricks, you see the lower part of the white facade. Yeah, you have bricks there, and you have some kind of doors, I think entrance from the channel to this building, and so on. Of course, what we have here, we have kind of person, you know, going down the stairs, and so we can kind of make it, you know, here some kind of figure when we're going to draw is going down. So now actually we're ready to do a little bit nicer sketch. So let's just save this, and I'm just going to briefly kind of try to get this drawing done. You can work much more, it might take much more long time and do it nicely and slowly, less or more, as I was explaining this. I'm just going to kind of do a few lines here and there to just finish this. I don't want these videos to be very long. So I'm going to take, well, because it's Venice, let's do kind of sepia, kind of brownish color for all this entire thing. So I start sketching now approximately. Yeah, so I just go, I can go with any part, you know, but let's start with this. So I'm going to kind of, as I'm going to draw this, I'm going to make a little bit the kind of, you know, gestural lines, a little bit, you see, oops, sorry, a little bit kind of uneven, kind of, you know, and here I have the person, yeah, so I can kind of draw somebody, you know, it's kind of hand, whatever, some kind of figure, it's going kind of down the stairs. And what I only have here, you see, is not horizontal, it's slightly going down this kind of bridge part, yeah, over there. So I can kind of make a little bit, straight lines are very, now is the master of straight lines, yeah. It's very important to be able to do kind of nice straight line, and it's hard to do this on the digital, but anyway, I can do this approximately. That's this. You have this kind of part of the wall over there, and you have the vertical part of it somewhere there, yeah. And now you have this part of the wall, sorry, the bridge going this way. I try to get this line as straight as possible. I'm not doing very strong lines because this bridge is far away, yeah, so from me, so I just do kind of, you know, little lines there, okay, not very strong, and I go there, for example, to the end, and kind of going to add the kind of second line, thinner line. I try to do the thinner one, okay, kind of try to a little bit thinner one, yeah, but that's kind of complex. And over there a little bit kind of thinner line to just get the kind of white part, less or more, you know, the, the top of this kind of cement or marble base on it. Okay, less or more. And now, of course, this arches, that's the much more challenging part. Yeah, you go there and you go kind of, well, gently a little bit, not too much, because I want to do some details on the arch. So for example, and I'm gonna go less or more, oops, less or more rounded, much more rounded, this part over there, yeah, oh, something around those lines. It's not perfect, but anyway, you on the paper, you can turn the paper, you can actually make it perfect, but on this kind of, you know, digital surfaces, that's fun, and always challenging. Of course, you can do it, it's just that it needs a little bit much more practice. So now I'm going to imitate the white part over there, yeah, so just kind of make gentle kind of, you know, first kind of gentle the form, less or more as smoother as possible, yeah, well, kind of, oops, almost there. And now you go with this part, for example, over here, yeah, a little bit, you know, something close, yeah, and you kind of add a little bit much more, another line over there, just for dimensionality. And after, when you're going to kind of smudge or add some kind of, you know, details there, and you have some kind of ornaments, yeah, well, there's some kind of face, you know, a lion face over there, but you don't see this kind of, you know, cornice or something there, so you just add a little bit something, and you have some kind of, you know, decorative aspect on the bridge over here, over there, yeah, less or more, okay. And the rest is what you have a bricks, yeah, so the bricks, just do a few lines here and there, yeah, kind of, you know, a few lines here and there, kind of as they go, yeah, and just kind of try to kind of, you know, imitate a little bit and give some idea that this is kind of bridge from the bricks, yeah, so just kind of try to fake less or more, give impression that those bricks are coming kind of like here and there, and just kind of go, and, you know, this takes a bit time to play with it, yeah, and something, but that's something you could actually, you know, do nicely, you know, at home when you practice or something, okay. So this entire part is in shadow, but still is good to have some kind of elements which would kind of give you the idea that that's some kind of brick surface there, yeah. And of course, we're going to have here kind of some kind of shading you can do with the lines or something, so you can, you know, and this the base of this entire bridge. It goes there, yeah, as this is the canal and this is the water, so you don't have to kind of connect everything perfectly. You can do kind of few kind of lines, let's say, oops, a little bit kind of, you know, kind of do this depth of the water, and the bridge itself might be kind of, you know, a little bit, you know, projected here. But as we have the, if you want to do it the same as you see on the picture, of course, the lower part of the bridge, you would have to kind of make it, okay, much more darker, yeah. So for example, if I would go here, let me just kind of do this I'm not happy with these lines, what is happening here. So the best is Cintiq to draw on, because in Cintiq you can really be much more precise than on the tablet. But you know, I like it. I like it difficult. So here and there, a little bit here and there, yeah, over there. Oh, anyway, and you can have some kind of shading, yeah. So just do a few lines, a little bit kind of like roundish, yeah. So just have that kind of dimensionality now, and so on. You can add some kind of waves a little bit here and there, yeah, to just kind of, show that that's kind of, channel over there with the water or something, yeah. You can even go a little bit with this kind of, you see, reflections there, a little bit vertical reflections, whatever. You can do kind of few things here and there in order to imitate a little bit the water. Of course, here you will have, as the bridge is finishing, you see, you have some kind of wall over there, so it's kind of maybe not very even, yeah, something like this. And there is also bricks, and you have some other little bit going this way, and this way, and you have also some kind of bricks going with in the perspective over there. So this part, of course, it's going to be much more in shadow, yeah. And you have again, of course, here there is some kind of opening, I think, some doors, but anyway, we don't going to draw them. Just kind of, few lines going to the perspective, approximately a few lines which kind of will go to the perspective, which would allow you approximately kind of, put a little bit bricks there to give kind of impression of kind of bricky, surface there. So you don't have to draw brick by brick, but just give a little bit, impression of kind of old bricks, broken, not necessarily even bricks, perfectly rectangular or something. So you can kind of play with those stuff. And of course, we have here the kind of vegetation, yeah, over there. So you can kind of, this vegetation, of course, covers, you can do some kind of leaves, whatever. And as you draw the vegetation, you just kind of fake a little bit, what you can see it. So you also have to kind of put some part in shadow, some of them in light, and so on. So as you do kind of basic, structure of this vegetation, which is kind of covering partly this wall, okay, you just kind of fake it. So time to time you can do a few leaves outside. So it will give you kind of much more realistic look of this vegetation over here, yeah, of this kind of bushes, yeah, over here, over there, and you just kind of go through this, as you have the kind of shades, you just kind of put few lines here and there, and the same you do, kind of try to recreate less or more. I don't have time to do this perfectly, but anyway, I just kind of initiate you approximately. So just try to follow the forms less or more as they go, yeah, approximately something, just kind of, you have to give the impression of this vegetation. So it's not, if you spend of course much more time, you can do this much more nicely, but it's not always necessary. If you just want to do nice sketch, kind of, you travel, you want to have some memories, whatever, it's always better to do sketch than pictures are that kind of remembrance of what you were visiting. But if you do sketching, you have part of your life imprisoned in the paper, because this is your spirit, this is your energy you are using to draw the sketch. It doesn't matter if you draw perfectly or not, it's still part of you left on the paper. Picture is just you there, but it's not kind of, I would say, not really alive all the time. Drawing is something which actually you imprison certain energies on the paper as you were drawing this, and places you were visiting, and when the family after look at something, they have part of you in a certain way. That's why it's very important. I always draw whenever I travel. I take pictures of also, but I draw a lot, because drawing is actually part of yourself you're living, on the paper. It's the energy kind of which is in the line. Whatever I am doing digitally is not the same thing, but on the paper, of course, is much more, you're living part of yourself there, and that's what the paintings are. And they actually, sometimes people kind of asking why you pay so expensive for Monet or other paintings, millions or something. Well, whoever owns Monet owns part of his spirit, part of his energy, which is imprisoned in this painting Monet was doing, and that's the value of the painting. It's not that there's kind of colors and zigzags, whatever is there. No, what is important, you actually have part of the Monet in your house. If you or another painter, for example, whatever it is modern painter or painter which is kind of from all kind of epochs. And imagine now Leonardo da Vinci or something, you have part of the Leonardo da Vinci living with you all the time. So whenever, that's why the sketching kind of personalized, doesn't matter how you draw. As I'm saying, you might not do it perfect drawing or something, but it's not important. It's you actually leave piece of yourself on the paper. Your energy is there, yeah, and is imprisoned forever, as long as the drawing or the painting lasts or something. So you see, you just kind of, also when you draw vegetation or bushes or whatever, you have to dimensionalize them. Look, where is the shadows? I am not really looking now at the picture necessarily. I'm just creating my own approximate perception of it, because that's what you have to use. If you draw from the picture, it doesn't mean that you have to draw exactly, unless your intention is to really copy the picture. But I would suggest you to sketch architecture and interior spaces, exterior spaces, actually by simply, use the picture as a reference only, and don't do anything else. Forget it. Just don't copy the picture as it is, because it's not very important unless it's your objective. Yeah. So you see, slowly you add, in order to create dimensionality of the bushes, of the trees, of the arbusts, whatever you there, you add, you learn how it happens here. Yeah. You see all these parts, in order to create, in drawing, recreate kind of trees and bushes and everything. There's technique of doing this. I'm going to have separate videos only on the bushes and kind of trees and vegetation and so on. But that's kind of just a little bit, something here and there. Of course, you can have some kind of branches coming out and so on. Yeah, you can, do it as you want. So you see, as you go, with the drawing, of course, this entire part over there is in shadow. Yeah, so you can kind of put a little bit in shadow all this part. And this shadow, of course, is going to be also reflected in the water. Yes, okay? You're going to have some kind of reflections in the water. So let's go further. So for example, let's just finish this kind of briefly, this kind of, a building over there. So first, of course, I do some kind of lines, the thickness of the roof. And now let's say I'm going to go with the roof over there. Yeah, something like this. And let's say, oops, sorry, the top, I'm going to be very light, the top, because it's kind of in light. So when you draw, of course, you have to take in consideration the light, yeah, how the light goes and what kind of strokes to do that. So first, you can do it very gently. There is some kind of stuff going on top or whatever. Yeah, and there's some other details there, but I don't going to kind of get into it necessarily. I'm just going to put some kind of, foam there. And of course, the roof is from some kind of plugs, whatever is there. Yeah, a wooden, probably, or ceramic, whatever is this. And now, of course, I'm going to have, this is much more in shadow. Yeah, so it's going to be darker. And this kind of line, maybe also I'm going to put darker, and under this roof also I'm going to kind of add a little bit much more darker. This is the corner of this entire structure here. Yeah. So of course, if you would like to spend more time on it, you can do it, much more nicely. But here I would just put few lines for the shading over there. Yeah, that's a little bit nicer lines. That is too fast. Okay, so let's just go there and kind of do a few lines, less or more, like this. Yeah. Okay, as a shadow, of course, this entire facade, first I'm going to do the lines and dividing it. Yeah. So just kind of go with some kind of, you see, constructions, divisions over there with the bricks and stuff. So there's this part is kind of, oops, sorry, this part is kind of a little bit a little bit kind of darker, yeah, a little bit darker. And all this entire building over there, this facade is a little bit in shadow, yeah, because it's shadow there, yeah, it's in shadow. So you can add a little bit kind of shadow, you know, present in this building, either with lines or you kind of smudge it nicely, everything, so you can kind of work out this part much more nicer. And now I go there, for example, this is the end, so I'm going to cover this completely, yeah, and I have here the end of the white kind of facade, and of course the buildings, they go kind of, yeah, this kind of line over there and so on, yeah. So kind of, let's just, oops, yeah, going, yeah, it's fun on the digital so fast to do this, okay, here and there. So as I mentioned, the syntax is actually ideal. If you want to kind of be much more precisely and everything, you should actually draw on the syntax. The only problem is when you draw a long time on the syntax, your neck is aching. So that's another, you know, inconvenience. But question of habit, yeah. If you get used to it, it's no big deal. Okay. I just kind of briefly do this parts, not going to kind of be very exact here and there, just kind of make a few lines here and there, you know, a few lines here and there. Okay, and if you draw this and with kind of aquarelle pencils, you can do beautiful effects at the end. You know, as you have the line drawing. Of course, that's the kind of roofing. It's kind of certain thickness of it, yeah, certain thickness, and also there is some kind of, you know, forms, yeah, over there. Yeah, so just kind of add a little bit few lines here and there, and maybe add a little bit another kind of on the top, just kind of dimensionalize this roofing over here. And we have this part addition over there, yeah, so that is some kind of, yeah, there's some kind of windows there, yeah, so I'm just going to kind of mark them very briefly. And this is also in shadow, so that's kind of division over there. And they have some kind of roof, yeah, whatever, kind of ceramic roof, whatever. And we have, okay, this is the side of it, which is exposed to the sun, to the light. We have this part over there, a little bit nicer. Yeah, you go there. And this is in shadow, this is in light. Somewhere there you have, oops, you have a little bit shadow between, you have another part over there, yeah, and it goes as it goes this way with the perspective of this facade over there, so it's going to be a little bit this way. And of course here you have the, oops, is the kind of forms over there. I don't going to go into details too much, and just kind of approximately going to try to get impression of these forms, you know, over there. So you have one part, you have some kind of, you know, tootsie shape of it, and you have this, of course, that's the roof over there. Yeah, so it's kind of roof over there, and it's very dark here. Yeah, and this is kind of in dark, and here you have this kind of, you know, parts of the roof visible. Oops, sorry, visible a little bit. Oops, one line, and they go this way a little bit. The roof. Wow, there's some kind of details there. So you have now on the top, exactly on the corner here, you have a very small window, and at the end you have another small window, yeah, over there, and then you have the arches kind of. So one is somewhere there, yeah, approximately, yeah, kind of, you know, fake them a little bit here and there. Another is somewhere there, oops, a little bit further, a little bit somewhere there, and over there have some, so a little bit darker, something in between. So just kind of faking those windows, kind of give impression that there's some stuff there, yeah. And you have another, the arch visible. So I did a little bit too much the bushes, so the one window is a little bit kind of like, you know, closed or something. That is no problem. I just kind of, and a little bit the bricks over there go, yeah, and there, and also here and there something, yeah. And the white facade here, you have some kind of windows there. You have another on the other side, less or more, and you have something there, yeah. And you have some kind of entrance to the build to this house from the channel over there, some kind of steps, whatever, yeah. And this kind of base from the bricks a little bit. So I just kind of do a little bit some kind of base from the brick, okay. Yeah, So you have some kind of base from the bricks, so just kind of few lines here and there, you know, just simply and kind of imitation, something kind of, you know, as we to assemble the bricks and so on. Here, however, you have on the corner some kind of entrance there, a little bit darker, yeah, so you have some kind of something happen here, and you have maybe the end of the other window or something, and some stuff going on this facade as well here. And now if we go there, from here we have the raising kind of chimney there, yeah, this is in shadow. This entire part is in shadow, yeah, so as we usually put the shadow there, also this is going to be a little bit kind of in shadow, yeah, this entire parts over there, yeah, of the buildings. So so we go there, and now we have this kind of chimney going to go somewhere until here, less or more, and you have the other form which goes over from here over there. It's a bit in shadow, so I'm going to just kind of eliminate this part, and oops, sorry, actually eliminate this, and then go a little bit with the perspective of this building. So we just kind of go in this perspective over here, yeah, and there, and again something like this. And of course from behind what is happening, we have this kind of, you see another kind of window appearing there, yeah, so you just kind of see the arch a little bit visible here. And there's some other details in this facade, because the bricks put it kind of dimensionally there. You have kind of something happen over there, some kind of cables, whatever. There's a lot of details on this part, but we don't gonna. And let's do these windows a little bit here, yeah, which are kind of in shadow, one and the other over there, a little bit kind of archy part, and a little bit on the base, something here and there, yeah, oops, a little bit higher, somewhere there. And we have what we have, well, in the white facade, and there's actually continuation, oops, sorry, of the frieze over there, kind of going this way, yeah. And of course there's bricks, and you have another doors over there around it, a little bit arches, so I'm just kind of imitating, yeah, and don't want to spend too much time to do this. The perfection, you know, and it was more about the composition, how to do this kind of drawings from the start, and after the to what point you're going to finish them, it depends of course on your patience and your desire to make it this as nice as possible. So after, you can add a little bit kind of, you know, stronger lines in certain places, yeah, to add a little bit much more character, a little bit much more character to it, yeah. And also here a little bit kind of shadow there, yeah, and this much more darker this part. And also over here you can go and make it a little bit something darker here. So the same of course with the facade, yeah, you can even separate, and the roofing might be kind of, oops, sorry, up is good, this could be much more darker, yeah, on the base, everything also here a little bit, and all the other parts in the windows. And so you can always add a little bit stronger parts here and there, whatever is the case. And under the bridge, of course, this part, oops, sorry, this also you can add a little bit much more kind of, you know, dimensionality, a little bit with some kind of stronger parts here and there, yeah. So you can kind of add certain parts a little bit kind of strokey, a little bit stronger, certain, you know, even the arch, in the arches area here, even the bridge, even the lower part on the upper part of the bridge, a little bit stronger somewhere here and there, you know, to get a little bit much more dimensionality, and take it out from the paper and be much more visible. This entire wall, of course, is going to be very strong lines, yeah, over there, because it's close to you, yeah. So all these parts, and there we don't see it, whatever, what is it done from, but what we can kind of put it there, you know, a few lines here and there, like as a shading, yeah. And you can put the entire part, a little bit kind of some lines in the shading, and that's the where is the end? The end is there. Oh, just a second. Is where? Okay, it's the one square. The one square we have here, yeah. Okay, so it goes this way. So it starts actually from here and there. Yeah, okay, something like this. So I have this part going like this and like this, yeah. And of course, you have some shadows projected by this wall as well on the ground. Yeah, you're gonna have some kind of shading here. Okay, this is going to be stronger. And here you might have some kind of, you can put some kind of stony parts, whatever. And under this, you're going to be having much more shade there. And this entire part going to be much more in shadow. So now you have the other part of the top over there visible, yeah, a little bit stronger here. And now you have the metal kind of frames, so just kind of make them less or more kind of, you know, this is the upper part, okay, sorry, yeah, and that's, let's say, standing on the sidewalk, and we have kind of, you know, divisions, bars, and kind of, you know, crossing this, oops, this entire form, you know, kind of bars, metal bars crossing. So also the metal bars, even if you do this kind of lines after, you can kind of, you see, emphasize a little bit certain parts, oops, a little bit better, a little bit kind of stronger, somewhere stronger, a little bit kind of stronger from here, a little bit kind of stronger, even darker from here, yeah, okay, and a little bit there, and a little bit maybe the outside. So you dimensionalize the forms by adding, playing with light and with the darkness here. And you have the lower part, of course, on the ground. That's the marble part. Well, that's kind of dirty marble because from the water and the time, of course, everything is getting much more, you know, eaten by the time. Okay, so we have some stuff over there going, and you have the other part over there visible. Yeah, and so this is going to be kind of to the level of the water there, approximately. And of course, what you can see a little bit, just gently, briefly, some kind of, you know, reflections in the water of this kind of, you know, stirs, which are kind of under the water. Yeah, and you have the other part of the wall over there, yeah, going kind of down over there. You have another part of the metal frame, a little bit thinner because it's far away. It's much more farther. So just kind of imitate this. You see part of it, oops, sorry, part of it coming there. And of course you have some, you know, this part over there and there. Okay, you have some kind of also divisions kind of there and there, a little bit gentle, yeah, over here, and also the other way, on the other way as well. And you have on the, this is on the base, the first base, and after you have here the legs over there. Yeah, so this is further, so just kind of leave it. And well, from behind you might see actually a little bit the stairs, yeah, but just few lines because it's not very kind of visible. Even on the picture it's very light, yeah, you don't see it much, yeah. So but anyway, I will kind of go there and kind of imitate a little bit, let's say something there, yeah. And we have this, the balustrade there, a little bit kind of very light over there, yeah, something coming there. And you have another details like the name of the street, for example, yeah. So you see, it is somewhere, for example, in this area, yeah, somewhere. That's kind of not really somewhere where between the windows. So it's somewhere there. Somewhere there you have kind of marble plaque when it's actually written what is the name, okay, of this street. So now you can kind of emphasize a little bit the age of the building, a little bit kind of here and there, yeah. And you can go with the upper roof, less or more, kind of, you know, a little bit, oops, maybe kind of gestural lines from the right to the left, yeah, kind of few lines there because it's kind of certain dimensionality, yeah. There's edges, kind of, they have kind of freezes in all the roofs. So the fun is to do this in straight lines, yeah. And you have the top of it somewhere there, yeah. And you have some kind of, let's say you can have some kind of, you know, you can put some kind of, oops, some kind of, you know, forms like the ceramic, you know, covering of the roofs over there. So you have some kind of thickness of the ceramic parts over there in there. And you have the, of course, the top veranda over there, this kind of columns there, a little bit in shadow. This is a little bit, you see a little bit the dimensionality of it and so on. Those are the jalousies there, okay, to cover the windows. So you can kind of have this kind of part. And of course they have another frieze, kind of, you know, ancient kind of looking, yeah, classic kind of references for the architecture, and you go there, you do some kind of triangle there, and it's also going to be a little bit kind of that, oops, a little bit kind of straight lines are important. You can have whatever lines, but it's always try to them to be as straight as possible, because even if you're not perfectly exact or so something, you can still kind of do nice imitation when you kind of play with the straightness. So here, of course, you're going to have some kind of decorative aspect there visible, and a little bit from here, a little bit kind of something from here, a little bit kind of darker from there. And now you have part of the, you see, roof over there having this kind of ceramic there, and you have this part of the, this roofing is down there, it goes this way, and you're going to have this kind of elements here there, and this all is a little bit in shadow, yeah, because normally what is going to happen, and you're going to have the this part of the roof, and then down, yeah, like this, and you have the lower part of it there, down like this, and so on. So you're going to have still this kind of ceramic stuff over there, here and there. So well, here we don't see how is it, but I'm just going to kind of improvise here that probably you're going to have the same, this is going to go actually the same way as it was here. So you're going to have this ceramic part over there visible, and of course we're going to have kind of, you see, in shadow this part and so on, yeah. So now we just add a little bit much more darker over here in the middle, yeah. That's kind of going to be a little bit much more darker, this part, and this part a little bit much more darker, and you just kind of imitate with the bushes. You have some kind of flowers there, yeah, and you have some kind of pots, pots over there, some kind of pots, but nicely placed, less or more here and there. Some kind of pots, and just between them a little bit darkness and so on. And there is going to be some kind of balustrades there, yeah, covering them. Anyway, that's kind of my guess, because you would have to kind of put the pictures a little bit closer and look the details over there. But as you're going to practice at home, you can edit this kind of elements. So you're going to have some kind of, you see, shading, a little bit much more dimensionalized here, and you can go with the kind of darker line. And now is the, well, you have some kind of other parts over there, whiter coming, yeah. You have some other stuff, some over there in the corners. You have some kind of cables, of course, there, because there are connections and stuff, yeah. So on the buildings, electricity in Venice, everything is outside. So you just kind of go with the line. It's not necessarily very straight, this line, but it's kind of, well, you can do first straight line, for example, like this. And if you want to, you can imitate a little bit the unevenness by adding a little bit some kind of, stuff here and there. And now you go with this kind of arches, arch in windows, yeah. And you have the other over there somewhere, yeah. And there is some kind of arches, yeah, over there. So you have some kind of shade here. That's much more lighter, everything over there. And you have another, this one is kind of blind, so you don't have much more depth in it. Here you can, however, have a little bit much more darker, because that's different, yeah, over there. So you just kind of go fast, and just, this is kind of flat because it's blind, yeah, windows. So you have this arch as well here, and you can do them much more better. Of course, they're much more decorative, but let's just do the other one over here, and you have some kind of, you see, this is much more depth because it's also kind of closed windows, yeah. Close window, oh, a little bit higher. Just a second, I'm going to erase this because the parapet's a little bit higher, yeah, like this. Okay, and of course you have the arches, kind of, some kind of decorative lines here and there, yeah, approximately. Okay, so you have a little bit this, and okay, those are connected with one parapet over there together. So that's one parapet over here, and there's another parapet for the other window over there. Well, I can do this nicer if I just erase a little bit these parts and just add the parapets. Let's say kind of one is here, another is there, and on the lower parts they kind of together, and this is one there and another is somewhere there. And of course, I have here where is the person coming. Yeah, you can actually make it a little bit darker, so you see the silhouette there, and you have some kind of, you see, plot, plot actually going out, and you see some kind of bricks. Yeah, so just kind of, you know, in Venice, sometimes the corners, they don't have very even bricks. They have all kind of crooked bricks here and there. So it's kind of fun to draw, you know. So, and you have some kind of details. Of course, the drawing is too small to do this. You know, you just have to give the impression, because you cannot go into the details unless you focus on one part of the wall, and then you can do all this beauty of the bricks over there. So now this is a little bit in dark, because in this stuff you can add a little bit some kind of shading there. Yeah, and you have this kind of part over there. Yeah, briefly, you know, add a little bit, a few lines here and there. Yeah, a little bit kind of, and just kind of try to get this form less or more. Yeah, kind of, you know, a little bit nicer the lines, and not really following the perspective. You have to, as I mentioned, they might be just few lines, but kind of try to manage them to kind of follow the perspective less or more. Yeah, so that's important. You don't have to be kind of very precise, but the perspective is very important to be there. So anyway, so that's kind of darker part. You have one a little bit darker over there. It kind of dimensionalize this frieze, and you have one the doors. You have after space, and you're gonna have another, and you have the window over there. Yeah, the window which kind of finishes somewhere. Oops, somewhere there. Okay, and you have, well, you have some kind of shadow. Oops, sorry, under this entire part, because what is happening, this frieze is projecting some kind of shadows on the windows. Well, you have some kind of details in the windows anyway. You can have it that kind of few kind of jalousies, whatever, have kind of darker part from this side. And whereas the doors, you can have a little bit darker, a little bit lighter here. Let's say there's some kind of window, kind of glassy doors or something, yeah, inside here, for example. And you have the base, you have 1-2 steps or something, yeah, to entering it. And this is the base of the building, and that's also the base of the building somewhere there, a little bit uneven, yeah, because that's what it is, kind of eaten by time elements here and there. So that's approximately kind of, you know, brief stuff there. And of course here you're going to have a little bit the shadow of the back of the other wall and so on. And you're going to see a little bit the stairs over there, and you can see a little bit the stairs coming from there and there. Okay, so the upper windows, just briefly. So you have some kind of parts there, you have some kind of parts over there, and again over here, over there, stuff like this. There's a more kind of briefly kind of add those windows in there. So I'm gonna have always from the top, of course, the windows gonna have much more shadow over there, yeah? much more in shadow, and that's gonna be the top of those, and the parapets now, yeah. So if you spend more time, you can do it much more exactly rounded as they are on the picture, yeah, on the references. Yeah, so you can kind of go and play with it and have fun. So under the parapet, a little bit darker, a little bit darker, a little bit darker. The windows itself, of course, you have the light is from the left, so you're going to have this much more kind of you know, stronger. And of course, you have some kind of those windows open. Okay, so you have some kind of vertical divisions for the windows over there, also as here and there, also as here and there. Yeah, so that's a little bit too large, so you can kind of narrow it. Well, I can do a little bit kind of few lines here, because, but if you do this kind of lines, you better go exactly as the perspective go. Yeah, so you're going to kind of follow the perspective line less or more. So the sidewalk a little bit, the lines of the sidewalk over there. So just few lines, for example, here and there. Yeah, and as you go further, they're going to be lighter and narrower. Yeah, all this stuff. And the same over here. If you go, for example, with the perspective, kind of not necessarily perfect, because those plaques, they go any kind of direction, not necessarily aligned to anything. Yeah, and they are very uneven. So it might be kind of that if you want to kind of go with, walk a little bit on it, so kind of make them a little bit kind of rounded here and there, a little bit broken by time, the edges of it. Yeah, so it's going to be kind of, you just kind of fake this, ancienity of the plaques of the sidewalks on in Venice. They kind of really eaten by time, and whenever you go, you see this. Okay, so what we go here, for example, you want to have kind of this line. You can emphasize a little bit the contact with the canal, the channel over there, the line of the water. Yeah, you can kind of emphasize a little bit stronger. And of course, you can put few lines in there. So just kind of even push it much more, the impression of the waterish kind of look. And if I take this out, for example, and if I would like to kind of make it, when you use brushes, like for example, aquarelle brushes, which is very good idea, you can actually go and you can kind of, you see, wash it out. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Just going to copy this drawing. Yeah, and I'm going to keep one like this, one like that. So let's save it. So if you did this in, for example, you see we did too much a little bit because I extend this part, so we actually don't see it necessarily here. Yeah, so this part is, I just push it going this way. It's even actually shorter this entire building, so all these parts you wouldn't actually see as if you would be on the picture. You have also cut over here as well, yeah, to just kind of, get it. This you can do with the kind of needle gun. So you go with the brush and you can kind of do kind of washing, you see. So you wash out a little bit what you have done, yeah, over there, a little bit, add some, those are water stroke, yeah, waterish strokes. So you can actually soften a little bit, certain things here and there, yeah, and give them a little bit much more kind of painterly look, yeah. And also with the pencils is much more nicer. And even the trees, you see all this kind of, stuff. You can wash out a little bit certain things here and there, yeah. Okay, and make this much more kind of, painterly looking like, yeah. Okay, a little bit. Of course, you can do this perfectly well. I'm gonna have one video when I'm gonna kind of do the washing, much more perfectly. But from now, it's just kind of, certain kind of stuff you can do with it. Yeah. So even this bridge, you see, you can kind of make it a little bit much more, interesting in certain manner, a certain way. Yeah. Over there. So under the bra, this stuff, when you have this, so just kind of go and, make it a little bit something, wash it out a little bit, certain things, make it much more artistically looking here and there, yeah. So you can kind of go there with the windows over there. You can add a little bit something over there, something over there, something over there, something here, just kind of go with this flow. With the water only, you can make nice kind of effects like this. And this, you kind of try. Ideally would be to take the tracing paper, and as you have your drawing ready, you might actually go and, and you might actually go and just simply, try on the tracing paper first. If you like it, you go further. Yeah. So it's of course optional. So that would be approximately all for this video. Of course, everything was very brief, and because I don't want this video to be, very long. But basically, what this is about, I just wanted to show you how to construct actually, less or more, how to construct it. When you draw the architecture from observation, you end the place, how to get one by one, nicely, construct the forms, what to look at, and so on. So another thing could be done that if you just kind of go a little bit wider, for example, and you make it a bit stronger, so you can actually go now and and kind of emphasize certain things. You can do this with also with the pencils, the water. You can actually put a little bit the medium aside, and you can kind of still do certain things here and there, making kind of much more interesting everything, and maybe much more in shadow certain things. This is much kind of much be darker and so on. You can still play to give the same approximately, you know, contrast as you have on the picture. You can build this contrast by adding stronger parts, lighter parts, and so on, and you can go there and there, and you can kind of actually do these buildings and everything what you just did here much more kind of in depth, adding a little bit much more stronger, you know, shading here and so on under this roof here and there, a little bit much more character. So it still work here and there to just kind of go and do this nicely here and there. So you can add a little bit kind of, you know, uneven, because all the facet and banners are kind of a little bit, you know, and uneven. You can see the light is kind of not really, you don't have perfect kind of reflection of light. There's always something, you know, going on here and there. So you just kind of go and eventually do a little bit. You see even the frames, you can kind of make it darker, and there's some kind of shadow in the water here in the kind of channel of this part, and also here. So added much more contrast simply, you know, to the entire form. Even this kind of side, the sidewalk here, you can go and gently kind of, you know, make it a little bit much more interesting, the entire parts what is happening here and there. So of course that's longer, it's long, and on the trees, yeah, also you go, and certain bushes you can actually even adding dimensionality to the vegetation. It gets actually okay much more interesting kind of forms and so on. You can go to this part of the water, you can kind of do some kind of reflections here, a little bit darker here and there. Of course this kind of bricky part is here. You have the bridge over there, so you can kind of add a little bit much more juice, you know, and the shading over there and here, yeah. So you're gonna have kind of, you see, under the bridge a little bit darker something in the elements, decorative elements here and there, and also under the roofs there, a little bit darkness here and there, a little bit the deviations here. So you have plenty of stuff to really have fun with it and play around and make it kind of much more interesting, yeah, the entire form. So the water might be kind of, you see, a little bit kind of in certain parts might be a little bit kind of darker, lighter, and maybe a little bit even this way. So just kind of, you know, go with the channel over there under the bridge, and all this bridge itself could kind of go and make it, oops, a little bit, you see, much more dynamic. So of course you can also put some medium on the paper, put the brush in, and kind of, well, this is not big enough. Just a second, yeah, something like that. And just kind of do a few stuff, like kind of, let's say you have some kind of, you know, some kind of sky over there, you know, behind, a little bit dramatic, kind of gives a little bit much more dimensionality in there. And of course, this could be also seen in the water here and there, yeah. So you can still play with this kind of effects here and there, okay, and even add much more drastic forms here and there. So that's kind of, you know, adding a little bit much more even darker stuff here, create the ambience you see in the picture. So you can do this, but you have to add a little bit much more, you know, shade here and there, yeah. So a little bit character over here and there, yeah. So that's work, constant work kind of adjustment. You have to always try push it a little bit stronger than necessary. But if you're afraid to push stronger, take tracing paper, and on the tracing paper, do this kind of, you know, do this kind of first checking out, and after we go, you know, and do it kind of much more nicer things. With the eraser, actually the England gum, if you shape it correctly, this kind of gum, which is eraser, which I want to show you here, for example, yeah. Okay, with this eraser, you can kind of profile this. I showed this in the first video. And actually with this eraser, you can actually make even much more additional kind of effect. You can actually erase it, see? With the eraser, you can actually create this kind of, you know, waterish kind of reflections here and there. You can kind of add a little bit much more you know, interesting things here, even in the kind of clouds. Yeah, you can go and can create much more, you know, the clouds much more interesting with taking out certain parts and build some kind of, you see, really nice things here and there. Yeah, you can always play with it. Yeah, so either kind of this way and this way, whatever. Yeah, so this is something which you could actually have fun with playing. So adding, erasing, it would be kind of, you know, interesting. So the important thing is just remember, whatever architecture you kind of draw, try to first see the essential forms, the simplistic. Forget the details. The details you're going to put one on top of the other, slowly. But what you have to do first is actually see the basic form of any architectural structure, and within these forms, after, you can kind of go and adding kind of much more detailed work here and there. Yeah, so also these bushes, if you just push it a little bit, you can actually, in the dark, you can also make a little bit kind of, you know, stuff going down in here. You can have some kind of even, you know, vegetation coming from the channel there. Yeah, some kind of stuff over there. So you just kind of go and make it, you know, everything gently, darker, and so on. Yeah. So anyway, that's all for today. So so just as you're going to, the important thing is, as I said, when you draw the architecture, yeah, when you're going to draw the architecture, just first see very simplistic forms. Just kind of don't see the details, forget about the details, see just the basic frames of the facade, one and the other, in relative proportions. If you spend much more time, you're going to be much more perfect, much more exact. But if you kind of do kind of brief sketching, at least verify the alignment, vertical, horizontal, and kind of with the squares, you're going to get much more closer to the real proportion of the object than when you will try to do this much more artistically, not thinking much, but much more be expressive. So then, of course, that's depend what you want. Anyway, a smile and draw, practice some more perspective, get out and try to do some buildings. In Montreal, we have beautiful, in your place, whenever you are, you also find something nice architecture. So if it's very complex, like in Italy, a lot of nice buildings, we're going to draw this much more in the following videos. So you will see how you actually can structure this. But I think today you're going to have a basic idea that first you do very simple form and build on top of those. Okay, so what I did today, it could be much more better, of course, if you spend a little bit much more time, much more precision here and there, and you know, don't rush with the time and nothing, you can do beautiful drawing. So thank you very much, everyone. Smile and draw, and I see you in the next time for more drawing and architecture and design. Bye-bye.